Part 41. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 402. A group of quasi-emperors. Upon hearing these 4 words, Xuanhuan was immediately shocked. A bunch of quasi-emperors? You didn't lie to me. You must know that masters at the quasi-emperor level are from various races. In the entire immortal realm, except for the supreme beings in the Yang Forbidden Land, it is difficult to say whether there are 10 of all ethnic groups in total. Even Xuanhuan, the strongest man in the demon control city, is just a great sage. But now, a group of people came all of a sudden? Even when the human race was at its most prosperous, there wouldn't be so much support. Absolutely true. The messenger spoke. Quick, take me to greet you. Xuanhuan immediately spoke hurriedly. Not long after, the gate of Demon Control City opened wide. Xuanhuan walked out in person. He raised his eyes and saw a group of young men and women in front of him. It was Yongzi and his party. Xuanhuan glanced away and took a breath of air. The aura of these young people is too scary, right? There are 9 quasi-emperors in total. Nanfan, Xiling, Duguyuking, Qing Chen, Lu Rang, Long Zixuan, Wu Dade, Zhang Li, and Xuanning are all quasi-emperors. Only Lin Zhuzhan and Subakian were slightly weaker in cultivation, but they had already reached Saint King consummation and were only 1 step away from becoming a great saint. In addition, his eyes were even more shocked when he saw Yun 11. He felt that the girl in front of him was like a sun that could not be looked directly at. Contains the supreme aura. It was even more shocking than when he faced the Taiyan Empress. When his eyes glanced at one of the purple-clothed girls, his gaze lingered for a moment. Because, she discovered that this girl was vaguely similar to the Taiyan Holy Emperor. Then, he saw Zhang Shui. He immediately showed great respect and stepped forward and said, "See Snow Emperor." As a human race, he has naturally seen Zhang Shui's portrait. This legendary empress was actually resurrected in this life. Moreover, the aura is extremely powerful, and he should be able to become the Holy Emperor again soon. At this moment, he was suddenly full of confidence. This group of people are all truly invincible. No need to be polite, I'll wait and come at the order of the Lord of Desolate Heaven. Zhang Shui spoke calmly. Hearing this, Xuanhuan was greatly shocked. This is the Snow Emperor, a once invincible existence, but now, he actually obeys the orders of others. He deeply felt that the Lord of Desolate Heaven must be a truly remarkable person. Zhang Shui then introduced. This is Miss Yongzi, Nanfan, Xiling, they are all disciples of the Lord of the Wild Sky. Then, she introduced Xuanning and others, saying, "This girl's name is Xuanning. She was born in the demon realm, but now she is practicing with the Lord of the Wild Sky. These are the demon commanders under her command." Xuanhuan looked at Xuanning and others, and his expression changed. Demonic realm. The Lord of Desolate Sky actually has plans in the demon realm. Could it be that this terrifying existence had already anticipated today? Horrible, terrible. He was extremely respectful, stretched out his hand and said, "Please come into the city." The group of people immediately walked into the demon control city. This is the Taiyan Holy Emperor, the last thing left to the world. Xuanhuan looked at the statue of Taiyan Holy Emperor and said, "In the past, in order to fight against Yang Hui, the Holy Emperor led the entire sect into the demon realm, but he never returned. This sculpture contains her magic, and the demon control city is a large formation that can resist attacks from the sea." He introduced. "Sister Xiling, why do I feel that this statue is somewhat similar to you?" At this time, Nanfan opened his mouth. Everyone looked at Xiling. "It does look like it, but senior sister Xiling has a different temperament from this sculpture." Everyone spoke. The woman on this sculpture is extremely beautiful and has an invincible power. Like a peerless figure who has experienced blood and fire. In this aspect, Empress Taiyan and Zhang Shui are somewhat similar. But Zi Ling is lively, cute, pure, and innocent. I don't know either. There was also some curiosity in Zi Ling's big eyes. Maybe, there is some cause and effect. Yun 11 also blinked her beautiful eyes, as if she saw something. Why are there so few Saint King level experts in this city? At this time, Zhang Shui asked. Hearing this, Yin Wuji smiled bitterly and said. All the strong men from the foreign races have rebelled. They went to the sea and took refuge with the demons. Zhang Shui said calmly, so, the demon army is already at sea. Yin Wuji nodded and said. Yes. But it should only be the vanguard, led by a quasi-emperor. Hearing this, Wu Dade spoke directly and said. What, just one? Still just a quasi-emperor? He looked very disappointed. It's boring, it's really boring. Absolutely not enough. Not enough to fit between teeth. Zhuge Long Xuanhuan, etc. also lacked interest. Seeing this, Yin Wuji was stunned. Who is this? Is this tone disappointing? When did the demonic quasi-emperor become so looked down upon? Although there is only one quasi-emperor, it still needs to be solved. Zhang Shui opened her mouth and said, I'll go. But at this time, Xian Ning stood up with a smile and said. Sister Shui, you are not needed. She looked at the group of demon commanders behind her and said. Which one of you is going to go? A quasi-emperor, she just needs to train these subordinates. At this moment, a group of demon commanders heard this and were all scrambling to be the first. Magic Commander, let me go. Xueji was the first to speak. I'll do it. I am willing to kill this quasi-emperor. Shan Ming, Tishan and other demon commanders also spoke hurriedly. Even Ming Tianbei stepped forward and said eagerly, Demon Commander, I want to go too. Zinning looked at Ming Tianbei, glanced at his whole body, but shook his head directly and said. You go, you are bullying the devil too much. You must know that Ming Tianbei has stayed in a small mountain village for a long time, and his clothes, pants, shoes, are all garbage collected. Simply armed to the teeth. Xueji, go ahead. Finally, Xian Ning looked at Xueji. Xueji immediately smiled and said. Thank you Demon Lord. After saying that, he left directly. Let's go and see the so-called Forbidden Sea and the so-called Demon Army. Zhang Shui also spoke. Not long after, they had climbed onto the Great Wall and were looking at the sea ahead. I saw countless large ships lined up on the sea. The demonic power is mighty and the fog is thick. Now, the ship at the center of the demon army. A group of holy kings were looking respectfully at a middle-aged man in front of them. Astonishingly, he was the holy king of the sky-swallowing python and other tribes. After they left Demon Control City, they came here directly, ready to surrender. The middle-aged man in front of them was clearly the vanguard of this demonic invasion. The ignorant quasi-emperor of the demon clan. It's fine if you come and surrender, but what do you bring? Wu Ming said calmly. I would like some valuable information. Hearing this, the holy king of the sky-swallowing python clan stepped forward and said. Lord Qi, I'm afraid you don't know yet, but the entire immortal realm is in chaos. Just a few days ago, there was a great battle in the immortal realm, and all the major imperial clans in the immortal realm were massacred. He looked at Wu Ming quasi-emperor. This must be the most shocking news, and then said. Now, there will be no more reinforcements in Demon Control City. However, upon hearing this, Wu Ming quasi-emperor remained calm and said. Is this what you brought to me? Unfortunately, I already know this. Hearing this, a group of holy kings were surprised. The news comes from a human race. Wu Ming said calmly. Bring that ant up. Immediately afterwards, Liuming Quasi-Emperor's subordinate Wu Qin came forward with a middle-aged man. This person is clearly Ao Wushuan. In the past few days, he was interrogated in various ways every day, asking about the situation in the immortal realm. In desperation, he explained the current basic situation of the immortal realm. He even told all about the battle in the northern immortal territory, but he did not dare to mention any information about the small mountain village. He only told these demons that there was something strange in the immortal territory and they couldn't go there. But, people just don't listen. Thinking of this, his face was filled with sadness, resentment, and a hint of grievance. Who is this person? The heaven-swallowing python Saint King and others looked at Ao Wushuan in confusion. Liuming Quasi-Emperor said calmly. This person calls himself Ao Wushuan. Ao Wushuan. Upon hearing these three words, a group of holy kings suddenly froze. Their expressions suddenly changed. Ao Wushuan, you are the quasi-holy son of the celestial race. The holy king of the sky-swallowing python clan pointed at Ao Wushuan and asked. There was actually a hint of vibrato in the words. Because they have completely understood the whole story of the destruction of the imperial clan alliance. Regarding that battle, rumors have long spread in the immortal realm. One of the crucial characters is the quasi-holy son of the celestial race, Ao Wushuan. It is said that if that guy took refuge with the celestial race would be destroyed. Later, he led the Imperial Alliance army, and all the Imperial Alliance army died. Some people even claim that this guy was very evil in his early years, and there are many similar deeds. The ultimate plague god. However, everyone thought that Ao Wushuan must have died in the battle in the northern immortal territory. As a result, I am here now and heard this name. In the battle in the northern immortal territory, the Holy Emperor fell. Did this guy actually survive like this? Evil, so evil. When Ao Wushuan heard this, he was also stunned. He looked at the holy king of the sky-swallowing python clan and said. Old man, do you know me? Hearing this, the heaven-swallowing python Saint King and others all wanted to vomit blood. Damn, is it really true? Damn it, who in the fairyland doesn't know you yet? The holy king of the sky-swallowing python exploded violently, pointed at Ao Wushuan and said. What are you doing here? There was a tremor in his voice. Ao Wushuan was confused. I have come to seek refuge in the demon realm. As soon as he said this, a group of holy kings looked at him blankly. I was dumbfounded for a moment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Gui Xin. Chapter 403. This group of holy kings came to surrender in high spirits. But at this moment, seeing Ao Wushuan. But they were all dumbfounded. At this moment, each of them felt a creepy feeling in their hearts. Disaster, disaster. Is this guy crazy? Why did he come with us to surrender? I'm a little doubtful, are we going the wrong way? Suddenly, a group of holy kings began to doubt themselves. Oh! This person is just a small saintly power. Is he still quite famous in the fairyland? At this time, Liuming Quasi-Emperor also spoke with interest. Report to the Quasi-Emperor, this person is the god of plague and the star of disaster. The heaven-swallowing python Saint King hurriedly spoke and said. All the forces related to him in the immortal realm are finished. Please Emperor Xuan, please kill him quickly, or drive him away. This person is so weird and ominous. They were really upset. With such a disaster star around, they can't take refuge in peace of mind. When Ao Wushuan heard this, his eyes widened and he said. You don't want to taint someone's innocence out of thin air. But Liuming Quasi-Emperor just smiled indifferently and said. What a fuss. He looked at Ao Wushuan. Judging from the words of the heaven-swallowing python Saint King and others, It seemed that Xuanhuan was not a spy. Since this person is so familiar with the immortal territory, I will keep him here for the time being. After defeating the demon control city, he will have to lead the way to conquer the northern immortal territory. Judging from the words of several people, he already knew. There was indeed something weird in the north of the immortal realm, but he didn't care. Northern immortal territory. Xuanhuan almost cried and said. As I said, there is nothing so strange or terrifying. Wu-Ming Quasi-Emperor waved his hand and said impatiently. And, don't say any more. I told you that you know nothing about great weirdness and great terror. Come here, prepare to attack. No matter what, Demon Control City must be captured first. Now that so many people are betraying and Demon Control City is empty, this is the best time to attack. Suddenly, a horn sounded on the magic ship. This is the attack number. Where is the Demon Quasi-Emperor? But, at this moment, an extremely powerful aura suddenly came. I saw a figure walking through the air above the Forbidden Sea. It was a cold and arrogant man. He glanced at the demon warships with contempt in his eyes. A great saint. Who is this person? He exudes the aura of demons. As a demon, how could you walk out of the Great Wall? For a moment, everyone in the demon clan was surprised. Wu-Ming Quasi-Emperor looked at the demon sage, and his eyes darkened even more. Who is this person? He spoke to the heaven-swallowing python Saint King and others. We don't know, I've never seen this person in Demon Control City before. A group of people spoke. The Quasi-Emperor Wu-Ming thought for a moment and took one step forward. In an instant, he was volleying against the opponent. I am the Wu-Ming Quasi-Emperor. Wu-Ming spoke indifferently and said. Who are you? What ethnic group do you come from? As a demon, why did you come out of the fairyland? Otherwise, you will die. But upon hearing this, Xueji just said coldly. Stop talking nonsense, remember, the person who kills you is named Xueji. After saying that, he took one step forward and struck with a punch. Court death. Emperor Wu-Ming was furious. The two of them fought instantly. The terrifying demonic aura instantly filled the entire Forbidden Sea. The two fought for hundreds of rounds in the blink of an eye. There is no difference between victory and defeat. This person is so strong. His cultivation is obviously weaker than that of the Quasi-Emperor, but he can fight to a draw with the Quasi-Emperor. Incredible. Is he a traitor to our demon clan? All the demons are paying attention. The air battle rages on. How dare you stop me? Quasi-Emperor Wu-Ming was furious. As a veteran Quasi-Emperor, he was only one step away from becoming the Demon Emperor, but now, he was actually blocked by a great sage. I will crush you to pieces. Suddenly, he took 300 steps back, and a peerless magic sword suddenly appeared in his hand. Saint-destroying demon knife. The saint-destroying demon sword is said to have been forged by a generation of demon emperors, the yin-destroying demon emperor for the Wu-Ming Quasi-Emperor. It can be called an imperial weapon. This sword can destroy the world with one strike. All the demons were excited. And at this moment, in the air, Xuzi, taking refuge in the immortal realm is the biggest mistake of your life. Go to hell. The Wu-Ming Quasi-Emperor is coming to kill. With the power of a world-destroying sword. Xueji felt the power emanating from that magic knife. However, he is not afraid. He suddenly raised his hand, and in an instant, there was a dung fork in his hand. As soon as the dung fork came out, the entire taboo sea with chaotic atmosphere suddenly calmed down instantly. Everyone in the sky and on the earth felt a kind of panic from their souls at this moment. It seems that dung fork can destroy all enemies. How is that possible? What is this? In the sky, Wu-Ming Quasi-Emperor's face changed drastically. The thing in the hands of this great enemy, is at least an imperial weapon. Moreover, it is very likely to be a real imperial soldier. At this moment, Xueji had already sneered and stabbed him with a dung fork. Wu Ming Quasi-Emperor resisted with all his strength. However, even the moment the world-destroying demonic knife in his hand struck the dung fork, the edge of the knife was shattered. No. As the dung cha approached, Wu Ming Quasi-Emperor let out a loud cry of terror. The next moment, a demonic Quasi-Emperor was directly stabbed by a dung fork. Puff. Demonic blood surges. A generation of demonic Quasi-Emperor was picked to death by a dung fork. At this moment, all the demons on the hundreds of ships in the demonic path on the Forbidden Sea were dumbfounded. The Quasi-Emperor is dead. The Quasi-Emperor is dead. What on earth is that fork? It's so scary and weird. Retreat quickly, retreat quickly. At this moment, all the demons were panicking. Even the Quasi-Emperor is dead. Who can resist? For a moment, all the demon warships hurriedly turned around and ran away. On the warship in the center, Wu Ken looked at the master who was killed by the dung fork in the sky. He was completely stunned. A group of holy kings, the sky-swallowing python, etc. who came to seek refuge were also dumbfounded. Disaster star, disaster star. What the hell have I done to deserve disaster from the god of plague? Can I still go back to Demon Control City? I don't want to be a traitor. For a time, the mentality of these holy kings collapsed. Damn it, the famous disaster star in the fairyland really lives up to his reputation. And Xuanhuan looked at the dead Quasi-Emperor in the sky with a complex look in his eyes. Damn it, why don't these demons listen? Don't you know that everything related to that small mountain village is the biggest weirdness and the biggest terror? He had no doubt that that Shitcha probably came from that evil little mountain village. The people in the village are chasing him out. It's over. They're not here to kill you, right? His heart trembled, and he quickly grabbed Wu Chan's hand and said, Brother Wu Ken, run away, run away. We have to go to the demon realm. Wu Ken looked at Xuanhuan at this moment, his heart tightened. Damn it, this guy can't really be the god of plague, right? What a wicked thing. However, he still gritted his teeth and said, Retreat at full speed. And in the sky, Xueji threw the body of Wu Ming Quasi-Emperor from the dung fork. Then, his dung fork suddenly made a stroke toward the Forbidden Sea. In an instant, huge waves surged into the sky. Hundreds of demon warships were wiped out in ashes. Countless demons fell into the sea at this moment and were struggling. Xueji turned around and left. On the Great Wall, countless soldiers in Demon Control City were overjoyed when they saw this scene, and they cheered. Yanwuji became even more excited and said, Okay, great, great. You must know that the ignorant Quasi-Emperor killed a holy king just a few days ago. Now, revenge. Morale will definitely rise. Finally, Xueji returned to the Great Wall and reported to Xuanhuan. Demon Lord, that Quasi-Emperor is dead. Xuanhuan shook her head and said, To kill such a person, you still use rubbish from the village, don't you think it's embarrassing? Shame on you. Xueji immediately turned red. I'm sorry, I was wrong, I shouldn't have used the garbage in the village. He spoke hurriedly and put away the dung fork. Yanwuji was shocked at the time. That terrifying dung fork, the garbage in the village. Damn, what kind of village is this? And at this moment, the endless demon army is heading towards the Demon Control City. The most central ones are 3 giant warships. 3 magic flags were erected on the warship. Destroy Yin, Dark Descendants, Swallow Yang. These 3 demon flags are in the demon realm, representing 3 extremely terrifying demon emperors. Report. Wu Ming Quasi-Emperor was killed, and the entire vanguard force was wiped out. The words came. The demon army was all shocked. Is there anyone alive? What happened? On the 3 imperial ships, grand and indifferent words sounded. Reporting to the Holy Emperor, only Vuchan is left, and there is another clan member who returned with him. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 404. News comes from the front line. The demon army was all shocked. The vanguard force was completely wiped out. Even Wu Ming Quasi-Emperor died. In an instant, demonic power emitted from the central imperial ship. A terrifying and powerful figure appeared instantly and stood on the deck. This is a middle-aged man with long hair. He had jet black hair, wore a black robe, and held a terrifying long black knife in his hand. The knife exuded wisps of terrifying energy. This time the demons invaded on a large scale, and a total of 3 emperors were born. This person is one of them, the yin-destroying demon emperor. Bring it up. He spoke indifferently. Immediately afterwards, Wuxin and a human from the immortal domain were seen boarding the ship. Both of them were wet. What's going on? The yin-destroying demon emperor spoke indifferently. Wukan immediately knelt down and said, "Report to the demon emperor, there is a powerful person in the human race who will take action." He immediately told about the battle ahead. "You mean, in the hands of the demon cultivator who surrendered to the human race, there is a terrifying imperial weapon that is better than Wu Ming's demon sword." The yin-destroying demon emperor opened his mouth and said, "A supreme war fork." Wukan nodded and said, "Demon emperor, that Zhan Cha is really terrifying." Hearing this, Xuanhuan, who was next to him, hesitated and said, "Then, that might not be Zhancha." Hearing this, the yin-destroying demon emperor looked at Xuanhuan calmly. He paid special attention to Xuanhuan's legs. This person's legs seemed to be a little strange. He asked, "Who are you?" Xuanhuan bit the bullet and said, "Devil Emperor Qi, my name is Xuanhuan." Although he is a human race in the immortal realm, he has always wanted to be a demon. "Please, let me go to the demon realm. Please." When the demon emperor heard this, he was startled. Such a weird human race. Even though he has lived a long life, this is his first time seeing him. Moreover, at this time, the demon realm is fleeing to the fairy realm. Is this guy still going to the demon realm? Isn't this asking for death? Thanks to Xuanhuan. If he hadn't brought me along to swim here and luckily met our people, I would have died in the sea. At this time, Wuxin said with a thankful face, "Brother Wuxuan, thank you." Xuanhuan twitched the corner of his mouth and said, "You're welcome, you're welcome." The demon emperor then asked, "Xuanhuan, do you know the origin of that Zhan Cha?" Xuanhuan said, "Demon Emperor Qi, if I guess correctly, it is not a war fork at all, then, it is a dung fork. There must be great terror and great weirdness behind it. Retreat, Demon Emperor." He is sincere. But the yin-destroying demon emperor couldn't help but smile. "You, the human race, are somewhat interesting, but this emperor has no way to retreat." He turned around and said, "At full speed. Capture the immortal realm." In an instant, the entire demon army rushed away. Speeding up. This is an inevitable decisive battle. Wukan and Xuanhuan could only retreat. "Brother Wuxuan, I'm a little scared." Seeing the warship moving forward, Wu Chan was a little embarrassed and said, "If you want to escape for your life later, how about taking my brother with you?" Xuanhuan nodded, gritted his teeth and said, "Quick, don't wait a while, now, prepare the boat." The horn booms. With a terrifying demonic aura, the waves roll on the forbidden sea. The demon army lined up in a row, sweeping over like a terrifying black wave. 3 terrifying demonic clouds appeared directly on the sea. The imperial power is scattered. 3 demon emperors. The yin-destroying demon emperor, the yang-devouring demon emperor, and the dark-born demon emperor. The 3 demon emperors took action together. Boom! In an instant, a terrifying black claw swept from the 9 heavens, almost destroying the entire southern immortal territory with one claw. The world-destroying black demonic energy was like a tornado, sweeping millions of miles away and coming with a bang. The terrifying light of a sword exuded a life-threatening energy that seemed capable of splitting the entire world in two. On top of the Great Wall of Fairyland, facing the terrifying blows from the 3 demon emperors, people are in panic. Yanwuji's expression changed drastically. This was the strongest blow he had ever encountered in Demon Control City. Take action. Zhang Shui spoke calmly, looked at Lin Zhuchen and said, "We will raid the formation for you." In an instant, she took one step forward. Nanfang, Ziling, and others even moved. They are spread all over the airspace, exuding powerful power, competing with the 3 demon emperors. In an instant, the 3 demon emperors were all surprised. What's going on? How can there be so many terrifying emperor-level experts in the immortal realm? There was a surprised voice. No, none of them are real holy emperors, they are just a group of quasi-emperors, kill them. Another cold voice sounded. Demonic energy swept through. At this moment, a figure stepped out step by step. There was endless terrifying light emanating from his body. Use the sea as a talisman to smelt the heaven and the earth. Zhuge Yuking shouted loudly. In his hand, the Vulcan pen drew across the sea. In an instant, it seemed as if divine flames were igniting on the surface of the sea, and the entire sea seemed to be melted. The forbidden sea turned into a terrifying talisman. And the endless demonic energy and magic power were crazily absorbed by this talisman. Through this talisman, Lin Zhuchen is continuously refining magic power. This person is a heavenly master. Immortal Realm Imperial Clan, Lin family. Must kill this person. For a moment, the 3 demon emperors were shocked. For the demon realm, the most troublesome power in the immortal realm is undoubtedly the celestial master. Because Tianqi Dao almost exclusively targets demons, ghosts, etc. However, their power surged and the void trembled, but they could not shake Lin Zhuchen. Because a large part of their power was intercepted by Nanfan, Zhang Shui, and others. The remaining part can only be refined by Lin Zhuchen. Endless power enters the body. At this moment, Lin Zhuchen suddenly let out a loud roar. The roar shook thousands of miles, and at this moment, his body seemed to have turned into a rune. Endless power bursts out. Great Sage. Lin Zhuchen, the Great Sage of Enlightenment. In an instant, the forbidden sea and runes boiled. Lin Zhuchen shouted. Rise. At this moment, the sea water in the entire Forbidden Strait suddenly rose into the sky with his runes. It turned into a black dragon and roared to swallow the 3 demon emperors. How can it be? Dare you? The second son's talisman skills are too profound. The 3 demon emperors all spoke in fear and tried their best to resist. However, what Lin Zhuchen was calling upon at this moment was the power of the entire Forbidden Sea. The Forbidden Sea, even the Emperor must be afraid of it. Boom! The big waves hit the 3 demon emperors heavily. Then the ocean fell, falling into the trench again from a height of thousands of feet, erupting with a deafening sound. And in the sky, the 3 demon emperors were being knocked away. The Emperor can't compete with the power of the entire Forbidden Strait. The 3 demon emperors all stopped with difficulty, their eyes filled with horror. The great sage-level heavenly master, he is far better than Lin Tianzheng, the ancestor of the Lin family. The dark-born demon emperor looked ugly. They had fought against the ancestor emperor of the Lin family. However, even the ancestor of the Lin family is not that strong. How could this be so? This group of people are too scary. The yin-destroying demon emperor was also extremely shocked. But, at this moment, he suddenly felt something. He turned back sharply. I saw a slender little hand, and at some point, it appeared behind him. No. This little hand struck directly at his sea of consciousness. In an instant, the yin-destroying demon emperor let out a miserable cry. His head exploded. Surrounded by endless magic mist. The Darkborn Demon Emperor and the Yang-devouring Demon Emperor were both horrified and hurriedly retreated. After a long time, the magic mist dispersed, and a little girl appeared on the spot. The little girl was about 9 years old. She was wearing a simple little skirt. She looked polite and had a pure smile. She wiped her mouth and said, "It's delicious." After saying that, she looked at the remaining 2 demon emperors. "No, you, demon spirit." The Darkborn Demon Emperor's face was horrified. At this moment, he was almost scared out of his mind. "Run away, run away." The Demon Emperor devouring Yang was also extremely frightened. They turn around and run away. However, in an instant, black and white chess lines appeared under their feet. At the same time, countless runes fell, imprisoning their bodies. Take one step forward with peace of mind. Shortly after, Xuanhuan's aura reached an extremely terrifying level. She devoured 3 demon emperors. Just one step away. "Thank you, Brother Lin, Brother Zhang." Xuanhuan obediently thanked Lin Zhuzhen and Zhang Li. "Xining, have you ever discovered anything valuable from their memories?" At this time, Zhang Shui asked. She knew that when the demons devoured each other's memories would also be observed. Xuanhuan smiled brightly. "I saw another me. She's very strong." At the same time, she looked at Yungzi and said, "Sister Yungzi, I should know the secret that the world here in the demon realm is being destroyed. In the demon realm, there is a stove. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert." Author, Gui Xian. Chapter 405. 2 days later. The demonic realm was shaken. The 3 demon emperors led countless armies of demons to attack the fairy land. But the result is extremely miserable. Total destruction. No one survived. In the demon realm, the remaining demons were shaken by huge earthquakes. There are also invincible strong men over there in the immortal realm. It's too scary. It seems that staying in the demon realm is indeed a wise move. Hey, the demon realm is not peaceful either. All the forces left behind have selected the strong ones in the sect to be sent as food to the demon spirit in accordance with the requirements of the demon spirit. People are talking a lot. The legendary yin-yang magic furnace finally appeared, and when the demonic spirits shocked the entire demonic realm, not all the demonic forces chose to escape. Submissions, more. After all, if the ancient legend is true, then the entire underworld will be completely destroyed with the emergence of the magic furnace. There is nowhere to escape. Submitting to the devil is the best choice. Today is the deadline given by the demon spirit. The demons who are willing to join her, must go to the demon furnace valley and make sacrifices. A news broke. The world is paying close attention. And at this moment, on the coastline of the demon realm, Nanfang, Ziling, and the others have landed on the Black Earth. This land, the smell in the air, is weird and chaotic. If you practice in this environment for a long time, you will indeed only be able to follow the devil's path. As soon as they landed, they already felt something was wrong. However, this aura cannot affect them. Because the way they cultivated, never lacked the power of the true yang. However, the collapse of heaven and earth is indeed real. Zhang Shui raised her eyes and looked at Tianyu. It seemed as if there was some kind of terrifying force that was engulfing the world from hundreds of millions of miles away. The yin-yang demonic furnace must be something refined by the demons of the yang realm. Yun opened his mouth and said, "The demon spirit should be the key to the magic furnace. If the demon spirit can be destroyed, the magic furnace will be useless. She comes from a powerful force in the underworld, so she knows many things about the underworld very well. However, those demons in the world must also be guarding the magic furnace. It is not easy to get close." At this time, Zhang Shui suddenly spoke and said, "If I'm not wrong, the people in the world are probably hunting too." Everyone looked at her. People in this world have seen Miss Yongzi before. Furthermore, according to what young Master Long, young Master Lin, and young Master Dugu said, countless years ago, there was a mysterious existence in the world of the underworld. With the help of a drop of blood from the Dugu ancestral emperor, the Lin family ancestral emperor, and the Qin family ancestral emperor, they deduced Senior Li, who had traveled down the years. They should also know about Senior Li's existence. So, they must have expected that if the yin-yang magic furnace destroys the world, someone will definitely come to stop it. So, they are also hunting us. She analyzed calmly. Everyone nodded. This is very reasonable. If you go there rashly, you may fall into a trap. With Senior Li here, we are naturally not afraid of all conspiracies and tricks. However, there is no need for us to expose Senior Li until the person behind the scenes shows up. So, I think, I will use my plan. So. As the Snow Emperor, she once commanded thousands of troops, and in terms of strategy, no one could match her. After she finished speaking, everyone's eyes lit up. Okay, just do it. Soon. Heavenly Demon Sect. A Demon King level sect. Sect leader Gang stood in front of the sect, looking indifferently at a group of tied-up strong men in the sect. Sect Master, we are loyal to the sect, so don't do it. Sect Master, we are willing to attack the immortal realm, please don't send us as blood food to the demon spirit. A group of strong men were all pleading. Since the demon spirit issued the order, as long as you offer a powerful demon soul, you can join her and escape the disaster of this life. Countless sects in the demon realm have chosen this path invariably. After all, sacrificing some people in exchange for a way out is a very cost-effective deal for the demons. Take it away and set off. Gang spoke indifferently. But, right now. Above the sky, a sword light suddenly cut through the sky and fell suddenly. Raising demonic spirits is tantamount to joining the underworld, kill them. The voice fell. The sword shines like a rainbow. No. Gangs looked up to the sky and shouted. But he was unable to resist, because this sword was a quasi-emperor level sword. On that day, the entire heavenly demon sect was wiped out. This is just a microcosm. On the land of demon realm, more than a dozen powerful forces were wiped out in one day. The reason for being destroyed is the same, raising demon spirits. For a time, people were panicked. There is a strong person targeting the demon spirit. Legend has it that in ancient times, when the yin-yang demonic furnace was first formed, the Burning Heaven sect, Taiyin Holy Land, etc. came to fight. Is there anyone in this world who dares to take action against the demonic furnace? It's so strong that even two quasi-emperor level sects were wiped out. Demonic Realm Blast. Until the next day. The demon emperor Duan Tian was killed. The demon realm was shocked. From king level forces, quasi-emperor level forces, and now the demon emperor. Now, everyone has realized that, a truly strong person will take action. At least Saint Emperor level. And at this moment. Demonic Furnace Valley, in the Abyss Cave. The chain of yin and yang order continues to grow wildly as the underworld is devoured. The little girl on the throne has an even more terrifying aura. The remnant spirit of the vermilion bird and the remnant spirit of the Pegasus, have all been devoured. I am about to become the demon emperor. The smile on her little face is so bright and evil. There is news that those who brought you blood food were intercepted and killed. including a Yin emperor. At this time, Yang Duangxiao's voice sounded faintly. I feel the breath of my other soul. She is coming. The little girl spoke and said. But, she didn't dare to come here directly, so she was on the outside, hunting for the food that belonged to me. Yang Duanxiao said. I will go and get her myself. My remaining 4 senior brothers will protect you here. After saying that, he turned around and left. After he left, 4 middle-aged men in grey robes appeared in the magic furnace. Soon, Yang Duanxiao took 1 step forward and was already standing on the demon realm. His divine thought swept across the entire demon realm. Just a thought, and in a blink of an eye, he had appeared outside a certain mountain range. I have discovered you, there is no need to hide anymore. He spoke indifferently, waved his hand, and the mountains exploded layer by layer. I saw a little girl walking out among the mountains. She was wearing a plain dress and looked pure and cute. Amazingly, it's peace of mind. You will become the last tonic for the demon spirit. He shouted loudly and suddenly grabbed Xuanhuan. But, right now, in the sky, a terrifying sword light slashed down towards him. Duguyuking has taken action. My teacher is compassionate. With an otherworldly whisper, a terrifying storm swept over. At the same time, there was the sound of pianos and runes filling the sky. Li Fan's disciples took action together. However, Yang Duanxiao just said coldly. Little tricks. He snapped his fingers, and in an instant, all the terrifying attacks in the sky were eliminated. It's just a bunch of yin spirits, so what if they have emperor-level combat power? They're too weak. He sneered and didn't take it seriously. Because he has transcended the holy way and entered the realm of fusion. You must know that the realm of fusion is the starting point to the divine path, which cannot be competed by the holy path. He took 1 step forward and was already in front of Xuanhuan, grabbed him and said. Let me go. However, he saw a bright smile on Xuanhuan's face and said. Okay. The words fell. Behind her, a butterfly suddenly flew out. Huh. No. Yang Duanxiao realized something and hurriedly stepped back. However, a girl in a white dress suddenly appeared. A delicate palm struck his back. No. Yang Duanxiao vomited blood on the spot, turned around and saw Yun 11. It was you, who was peeping at my practice before. He was angry and afraid. Because, he has discovered that the other party, is also a master of the Fusion Dao realm. How can this be? At this moment, Yun 11 opened his mouth, gritted his silver teeth, and threatened. Devil, I'm going to kill you. Why don't you ask your companions for help? Demon Forge Valley. Not good. The expression of a man in grey changed and he said. Junior brother has encountered a powerful enemy, and is being hunted. He sent me a distress message. Suddenly, the 4 men in grey were shocked. Who can hunt him down? He has already reached the realm of Fusion Dao. One of them is unbelievable. The only answer is, that big yin spirit is finally here. The leader in grey clothes said coldly. Now, it is chasing junior brother, and it has exposed itself, let's kill it. Why are they waiting here? Just for that big yin spirit. Now, the great yin spirit has finally arrived. Moreover, he was right next to Yang Duanxiao. They couldn't help it. Asan. The leader of the man in grey suddenly spoke. Suddenly, a group of men entered the place. These people are their servants, the same as the blue-robed envoys who went to the immortal realm before. There were 9 servants in total, 1 died, and 8 remained. You stay here and listen to the instructions of the devil. The man in grey spoke. Immediately, a group of servants all said respectfully, as you command. The man in grey looked at the little girl in black skirt on the throne and said, if there is a big enemy, You should be able to deal with it with this place. The little girl in black skirt smiled slightly and said. Of course. Don't worry, I know she will come. It's a pity that she doesn't know how terrifying the yin-yang order chain is. I cannot wait any more. Her smile was evil, and with the thought in her mind, the terrifying chain of order was instantly waved. This chain of order is a mixture of yin and yang. Once it touches, even the emperor will die. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Gui Xian. Chapter 406. The four men in grey quickly left. And at this moment, outside of Demon Forge Valley, a little girl in a plain skirt came with her hands behind her back. Behind her, Gong Ya, Xueji and other 7 demon commanders, as well as Ming Tianbei followed closely. The closer you get here, the more chaotic the yin and yang energy between heaven and earth becomes. If it were an ordinary cultivator, if he felt even a little bit, he would go crazy and be destroyed. Suddenly, Xian stopped. She raised her eyes and smiled. She knew I was coming. The words fell. Endless chains of terrifying order suddenly shot out from the cave in the valley ahead, overwhelming the sky and the earth. Every chain of order is smelted with the energy of yin and yang. Wherever it goes, the sky is constantly being annihilated and the void is being swallowed up. These chains of order. From the yin-yang furnace, countless chains of order formed a huge throne in the sky. The yin and yang aura slowly dispersed like a thick fog. Xueji and others looked up and saw the little girl on the throne. She was wearing a black dress, her aura was extremely powerful, her slender thighs were overlapped, and there was a smile on her lips. She looks exactly like Xian. However, their temperaments are completely different. This little girl in a black dress has a violent, sinister, and unpredictable aura, but Xian is like the sister next door, with pure eyes and no aura of worldliness. Both are the souls of the 9 Saint Demon Lord, but after another life, they have embarked on completely different paths. I knew you were coming. The little girl in black skirt smiled and said. It's a pity that you kept me waiting for too long. Xian said calmly. I've been waiting for you for a long time too. When the little girl in black dress stood high, she gently patted the armrest of the throne and said. What else can you do to fight with me now? I have already controlled the power of the underworld and the laws of the underworld, and although you also have some opportunities, what do you mean? Her smile was so bright and she said. Suicide. After committing suicide, your soul will become one with me. I am the real 9 Saints Demon Lord. My name will not only be transported in this underworld, but also leave my legend in the world of the earth. She is on top? Xian also smiled and said. Okay, then come down and eat me. You smell so stinky. When I eat you, it's a bit off-putting. But when you eat me, it tastes much sweeter. Hearing this, the little girl in black dress turned cold. Act recklessly. Then, she looked at Xueji and others. Xueji, Shanming, Gong Ya, haha, you are all the most valued demon generals in the past. I give you a chance to kill her. However, Xueji just said coldly. You are dreaming. The face of the little girl in black dress became increasingly gloomy. Very good, in that case, I will eat you all. She suddenly waved. 8 servants appeared beside her in an instant. These are the 8 human beings from the Yang realm. Kill. She spoke coldly. In an instant, 8 Yangjian people rushed towards Xian and killed him. Demon Lord, leave these people to us. Gongya opened her mouth and immediately rushed forward with a group of demon commanders. An ant in the underworld, a mere great saint, dare to be so arrogant. A group of people in the world are roaring. Their aura is extremely terrifying. Even, faintly above the holy way. They are all of the same level as the blue-robed envoys who went to the immortal realm before. The holy path has already been completed, and half of them have stepped into another path. If you are stubborn, even my slaves can kill you with a snap of your fingers. The little girl in black dress smiles. However, Gongya took out a cup instantly. That's a teacup? Infusion of spiritual energy. In an instant, it was as if Fang Tianyu was about to be submerged. These 8 terrifying people from the underworld were all suppressed to some extent at this moment. What kind of treasure is this? No. My cultivation can no longer extend beyond the holy path. What, this thing can actually suppress power beyond the holy Dao? A group of people in the world were shocked. At the same time, a look of greed flashed across their eyes for an instant. I have to get it? Gongya is just a great sage, but holding this teacup, he can actually suppress them. This shows that the status of this teacup is very high. They charge away. However, at this time, a group of demon commanders had already revealed their weapons. Come and fight. The dung fork in Xueji's hand suddenly shot out with thorns, carrying the power of destruction. The face of the oncoming Yang Jian man suddenly changed. He felt that the weapon in the hands of the Yinling ant in front of him could hurt him. He hit hard with all his strength. Hit me. The Iron Mountain is like an iron tower, and he is actually waving a mallet in his hand. When the mallet was swung, it seemed to sink the entire earth. It was magnified tens of thousands of times and the power was endless. Even a person from the Yang world who was coming towards me had to do his best to resist it. Come on, is this all you can do? On the other side, Demon General Shan Ming was actually holding a black iron pot. The terrifying attacks of a man from the earth were all blocked by the iron pot. He was not hurt at all. The two sides are already fighting together. In fact, even if Xueji and others have treasures in their hands, it is almost difficult to fight against these people in the world. However, the power emanating from that teacup now has cut off their cultivation beyond the holy path. Let them only use the power of the holy emperor level. Very scary. And at this moment, Xuanhuan took one step forward and was already standing in the sky. She took a step towards the little girl in the black dress. Your death has come. The little girl in black dress sneered and raised her hand. Countless chains of yin and yang order swept towards Xuanhuan in an instant. Overwhelming. Xuanhuan's expression changed, and she tried her best to resist. However, her countless terrifying cultivation abilities were released, and her demonic power was overwhelming. She is the quasi-emperor of the demonic way. However, her supreme cultivation was completely destroyed when she encountered the yin and yang chain. The chain of yin and yang order can destroy everything. How can it be? Xuanhuan was extremely surprised, and she hurriedly dodged. However, those yin and yang chains follow you everywhere. No. Finally, Xuanhuan was hit by one of the yin and yang order chains. She suddenly vomited blood and turned pale. She raised her eyes and growled at the little girl in black skirt. I'll fight you. She gritted her teeth, and suddenly, the demonic aura burned. Blood sacrifice cultivation, finally sublimation. She rushed towards the little girl in black dress. However, the little girl in the black dress smiled. Countless chains of order fell down instantly. Xuanhuan's speed gradually slowed down, and finally she let out a shrill scream and was restrained by two chains of order. Come on. The little girl in the black dress waved her hand, and the chain of yin and yang order had already sent Xuanhuan to her. Xuanhuan's body was trembling, her face was pale, and she was dripping with sweat. No, Xining said tremblingly. 1. The little girl in black skirt shook her head and said. You are so weak. It's so boring. She casually stretched out her hand and put it on Xuanhuan's shoulder, but finally a smile appeared in her eyes and said. I got you. Her power is working and she is about to refine her heart and tranquility. But, just at this moment. Within Xuanhuan's body, some kind of terrifying source of energy burst out in a mighty manner. Boom! In an instant, the chain of yin and yang order on her body was completely destroyed. What? The face of the little girl in the black dress changed drastically, fear flashed in her eyes, and she realized something was wrong. However, at this moment, Xuanhuan had already grabbed her shoulders. Xuanhuan blinked her big eyes and said, "You are wrong, I caught you." Power bursts out from Xuanhuan's hands. Ah! The little girl in the black dress screamed in agony. At this moment, she clearly felt that she was being refined. The soul power keeps losing. No, no. How could you resist the chain of yin and yang order? Even if you are the demon emperor, you will only die. She was unwilling and frightened. Zinning just smiled and said, He, because I have a backer. The thighs you hold are so thin. You are so weak, it's really hard for me to act with you. She carries two kinds of Taoist fruits. One kind of demonic path fruit left over from the previous life, and the other one is the holy path fruit cultivated in a small mountain village. Fellow immortals and demons. In a small mountain village, people eat and drink the source of the holy path every day. Moreover, the source of the holy path is not the incomplete source of the holy path born in the underworld. The chain of yin and yang order can easily destroy everything in the underworld, but her cultivation is completely that of the yin world. Therefore, it has no effect on her at all. Still, she put on a good show. The little girl in the black dress was fooled. You lied to me. The little girl in the black dress turned pale and her breath quickly weakened. At this moment, she felt even more that Xuanhuan's cultivation was terrifying to the extreme. She could not compare with Xuanhuan. Help! She raised her eyes and screamed. But Xuanhuan smiled brightly and said, "Stop barking, you are making a lot of noise, you are not good at all. Come, sister, let me teach you how to read poetry." The spring breeze in February is like scissors. Each golden character instantly entered the body of the little girl in the black dress like a brand, and the little girl's soul was quickly disintegrated. And at this moment, somewhere on the demonic land, 4 men in grey are chasing him quickly. They had always sensed Yang Duangxiao's aura. However, it is moving away rapidly. They haven't caught up yet. Why do I feel something is wrong? One of the men in grey spoke. Yes, the other party has been here for so long and hasn't killed junior brother Yang, how do I feel that the other party did it intentionally? The other person was also confused. The man in grey at the head pondered for a moment. Not good. His expression suddenly changed and he said, "Something happened to the demon. We've fallen into a trap." For a moment, the 4 of them were shocked. They hurriedly headed towards the demonic furnace valley. At the same time, on a hill somewhere, Wu Dada pulled Yang Duanxiao, who was tied by a dog chain, and wiped his sweat. "Senior Sister Xiling, it seems that the people behind are no longer chasing us." He raised his eyes and looked at Xiling deep in the sky. According to Zhang Shui's plan, after Yungzi suppressed Yang Duanxiao, Wu Dade tied him up and cooperated with Xiling to attract the attention of those people. After all, Xiling's mastery of space is unparalleled. Even people from the underworld can only catch up with Wu Dade if they find Xiling's location first and imprison Xiling. Because Wu Dade and Yang Duanxiao are just people painted by Xiling. But they don't know Xiling's existence, so they can't catch him. Deep in the sky, a beautiful purple shadow appeared. Xiling's big eyes looked in a certain direction and said, "Let's go, over there at Magic Furnace Valley, Sister Yungzi and the others must have been waiting for a long time." She immediately took Wu Dade and headed towards the demonic Furnace Valley. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Goexin. Chapter 407. The four men in grey quickly rushed to the Demon Furnace Valley. They are extremely fast. Not long after, it has already appeared outside the Demon Furnace Valley. Enter the Demon Forge Valley. They saw the throne formed by the chain of yin and yang order. On the throne, a little girl in a black dress sat upright. Her face was pale and her breath was dying. And in front of her, a girl who looked exactly like her, wearing a coarse cloth skirt, was dead. "Devil, are you okay?" the leader of the men in black asked. "I was almost killed by her." The little girl in black skirt spoke with difficulty and said. "However, everything is over now." Hearing this, the four men in grey breathed a deep sigh of relief. If something goes wrong with the demon spirit, then it will really be a failure. "That's all, let's just wait here. That big yin spirit will be forced out sooner or later." The leader in grey clothes spoke. The four of them stepped into the magic furnace. But, right now, the little girl in black dress suddenly raised her hand. In an instant, the endless chain of terrifying yin-yang order actually appeared behind them. He stabbed towards the four of them. Extremely terrifying. "Dare you?" The faces of the four men in grey changed greatly, and they hurriedly resisted with all their strength. One of them didn't react quickly enough and let out a shrill scream. No. He was stabbed by this chain of yin and yang order, and all his cultivation levels were dissolved and swallowed up. Another person was also seriously injured. Only 2 people managed to escape. But, at this moment, butterflies swayed across the sky. The palm of her slender hand fell down, covering the 2 of them. The 2 of them attacked with all their strength. They are already strong men in the late stage of Fusion Dao realm, and their cultivation level is far better than that of Yangdu and Xiao. But facing this one, the 2 of them fell hard in an instant. Bang! They fell to the ground, their bodies covered with scars and their auras extremely chaotic. The 2 of them looked up and saw a girl in a white dress appearing floating in the air, with butterflies surrounding her. Yungzi. At the same time, in the sky, figures appeared one after another. Nanfan, Zhongli, Lin Zhuzhan, Zhang Shui, everyone showed up. Immediately afterwards, the space moved, and a girl in purple stepped into the space with a fat man. Behind the fat man, there was a human from the earth being pulled on a dog leash. Yang Duan Xiao? Hiss. Seeing this scene, the expressions of the 2 remaining men in grey changed greatly. "We fell into a trap." One of them looked extremely ugly and said, "Yang Duan Xiao is just a bait to lure the tiger away from the mountain." The leader even smiled miserably and said, "Tune the tiger away from the mountain, and then reset the trap. Awesome, awesome. I, Yang Duan Feng, are convinced." He raised his eyes, looked at Yun 11, and said, "I never thought that there would be a person from this world in this world. You colluded with that big yin spirit. You deserve to die." With hatred in his eyes, he stood up with difficulty and said, "But, even if your plan succeeds, so what, this underworld will still be destroyed." He stood up and suddenly took out a portrait. On top of the portrait is an old man with an immortal air, holding a fly whisk, and his eyes are bright and lively, as if he has a spirit. "Summon Ancestor Tianxian." His strength poured into the portrait. The portrait suddenly flew into the sky. At this moment, in the portrait, suddenly a shadow appeared. That was an old man with a Taoist spirit. He has white hair, holding a fly whisk, sitting on the clouds. He is clearly the ancestor of Yang Duanfeng and others. Ancestor Tianxian. Has the yin spirit that I have been waiting for thousands of years finally appeared? At this moment, Patriarch Tianxian slowly spoke. At this moment, the terrifying and supreme energy filled the entire sky with the appearance of Patriarch Tianqian. That is the ultimate coercion. The moment he appeared, heaven almost trembled. He has exceeded the strongest power that this underworld can contain. It was he who used the blood of Dugububi and other 3 ancestors to deduce the master. Dugu Yuking suddenly spoke in a low voice. Stronger than millions of years ago. Long Xuanhuan is also dignified. They looked at the old man in the sky. Ancestor, the demon spirit has been destroyed and the magic furnace has been occupied, please take action. Yang Du and Feng looked at the old man on Tianyu and spoke in pain. Hearing this, above the sky, Patriarch Tianqian glanced at the field instantly. No. How can a group of yin spirits have such an aura? When his old eyes swept over Yun 11's body, he shrank deeply. The daughter of the Yun family. He murmured in a low voice. At this moment, he recognized the origin of Yun 11. I didn't expect, she actually entered the underworld. A trace of hesitation flashed in his old eyes, but then, everything turned cold. The Yun family hasn't found you yet, it means the Yun family doesn't know what's going on here. If we kill you, no one will know. The underworld is too important to him. Even though Yun 11 has a good status, he can't stop him. His whisk droops. In an instant, endless terrifying energy fell like the Milky Way from the sky. This is a way beyond the holy path. Just as the whisk fell, the hundreds of millions of miles of earth in the demon realm suddenly completely collapsed at this moment. Go. Xuanhuan, who was sitting on the yin-yang order chain, tried his best at this moment to control all the breath of the yin-yang magic furnace and soar into the sky. We must fight against Patriarch Tianqian. However, Patriarch Tianqian, who was sitting cross-legged in Tianyu, just pointed out. How can I allow you to get your hands on my treasure? In an instant, Xuanhuan felt a great panic on the throne, and she hurriedly dodged. Ziling took action with all her strength. Only then can we avoid it. However, the endless breath of the magic furnace has also dissipated with the old man's finger. He waved gently, and a terrifying black magic furnace burst out of the ground in an instant. At this moment, it seems that hundreds of millions of people are wailing, and the shadows of strong men are flashing, those are the living beings that were once swallowed by the yin-yang demonic furnace. The yin-yang demonic furnace instantly fell into the hands of Ancestor Tianqian. Kill. Fight him. At this moment, a group of Li Fan's disciples all rose into the sky and tried their best. They have something extraordinary in their hands. However, at this moment, Patriarch Tianqian raised his hand. In an instant, everyone felt an irresistible force. The strings of the south wind instrument are as sharp as knives, but it can't play another note. Wherever the Xiling brush reaches, the rice paper is shattered. Zhang Shui's war flag roared and suddenly broke at this moment. Lin Zhujian's endless talismans were like yellow leaves all over the sky, blown down by the strong wind. Dugu Yuking's sword intent was eliminated 3 feet away from him. Qing Chen raised the broom, but couldn't sweep it at all. They were all suppressed. It's not that the tools in their hands are not strong enough. But, this is a qualitative crushing. The other party's realm is too transcendent, far beyond the holy path. Just like a baby, even if it is holding a sharp knife, if its hands are controlled by an adult, what is the use of the sharp knife? No. Xuanhuan tried her best and took out the calligraphy and painting in her hand. However, she couldn't even open the scroll. Completely helpless. The devil, so scary. Even Yun 11, who is in the wrong Dao realm, feels unable to move. This means that this old man may be 2 realms higher than her, and should be, the realm of refining gods. At this moment, she turned back and looked in the direction of the fairyland. Big devil, come and save me. In the sky, Patriarch Tianqian suppressed everyone with a wave of his hand. He was calm, not in a hurry to kill these ants. Because he is still waiting. Wait for that big yin spirit. At the same time, the old man glanced at the magic furnace indifferently. Without the demon spirit, it's just a broken weapon after all, what a pity. After saying this, he suddenly threw the magic furnace. The magic furnace went directly into the deepest part of the underworld. Boom! The yin-yang demonic furnace exploded. At this moment, the endless terrifying yin and yang energy suddenly spread throughout the underworld. The chain of yin and yang order is like catkins in a strong wind. Everything collapses wherever it passes. The world breaks apart, and the void is completely shattered. The foundation of this world was destroyed by the power of this magic furnace explosion. The whole world has fallen into doomsday. Destroy the world. The end of the underworld is like a charming funeral. Ancestor Tianqian sat upright on the 9 heavens, staring in a certain direction with cold contempt. Great Yinling, your people have fallen into my hands, and your world has been destroyed. How long can you keep your head hidden? This moment. On the forbidden sea, the sea water instantly evaporated and disappeared. The forbidden breath rolled wildly in the void, and then disappeared with the void, turning into a black hole. The demon land sank directly and was torn apart, and countless demons were wailing. In the immortal realm, the people trembled, the earth cracked, and the tens of thousands of miles of mountains evaporated instantly. The aura of destruction is like the destruction of the world. The whole underworld is wailing at this moment. And at this moment. Northern Immortal Territory. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Gui Xian. Chapter 408. The whole world is wailing. From the forbidden sea, to the demonic realm, to the fairy realm, to the boundless void sea. Destruction is proceeding apace. This world has entered a real doomsday. And at this moment. By Xianyu, by Dawang, in a small mountain village. Li Fan had nothing to do and was watering the flowers and plants in the courtyard. After pouring water, he cooked some food from the kitchen and brought it out. Xiaobai, it's time for lunch. Li Fan called, and Xiaobai immediately ran over and ate cat food. Li Fan sat under the peach tree and drank a cup of tea calmly. The tea was picked during the Qingming festival. Well, it tastes very good. While drinking tea, he couldn't help but think of a group of disciples. The disciples were out longer this time than before. Perhaps he was used to the lively atmosphere of disciples together, but at this moment Li Fan actually felt that the small courtyard was a little empty. Alas, I don't know where Date and the others have gone, or whether they have found a way. I don't know if their journey was hard, if they were eating well, if they were wearing warm clothes. Xiling, Yungzi, Subakian and the others were all young girls with fragile bodies. And Xianning is even more of a child. I'm really worried about how well they are doing on the road. The journey is long, so Xianning and the others should be given more money to take care of their expenses. He couldn't help but regret that he had just given Xianning a piece of calligraphy, and the outside world didn't know if it could be sold at a good price, enough to cover their expenses together. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but feel a little angry. It was all the fault of those bastard time travelers. Why not cultivate their immortality? He actually wanted to destroy this world, causing himself to have to run away, causing himself to be separated from his disciples. If I knew how to practice, I would definitely kill these evil people with one sword. He couldn't help feeling a little resentful. But it's a pity that I am a scumbag at the first level of chi refining. The most I can do is write some calligraphy to vent my anger. A sword splits the road between life and death, and all the people can pass through the gate of hell together. This is exactly his wish. He doesn't know. Right now. Just when he thought of it. Billions of miles away. The sky above the already silent demon realm. The imprisoned Xianning suddenly felt something. She lowered her head and looked at the scroll in her hand. She felt, the scroll was opening automatically. Her big eyes were surprised. And at this moment, Ancestor Tianqian sits cross-legged above the nine heavens. He was high above, looking down indifferently at the destruction of this underworld. Haha, 2/3 of the underworld has been destroyed. Great Yin Spirit, how long can you hide it? Even if you are invincible, you are only invincible in the time and space of the underworld. Before me, you are not worth mentioning. He sneered. But, the next moment, he didn't know what he felt. He lowered his head and looked at the group of little yin spirits that he had restrained. His eyes fell on the little girl's hands. That picture scroll. It's opening automatically. Wrong. At this moment, Patriarch Tianqian suddenly felt a creepy feeling. It seemed as if something unimaginable and terrifying was about to appear in that scroll. Close that scroll to me. He couldn't help but speak hastily. At the same time, his big hand suddenly grabbed Xuanhuan. He wants to completely destroy Xuanhuan and that weird picture. But, this moment. That picture scroll, the first word has appeared. 1. The terrifying sword intention suddenly swept out from the scroll. It seems that it is a world of swordsmanship. As if it were a supreme and divine sword. Ancestor Tianxuan's terrifying big hand was instantly crushed to pieces by the terrifying sword energy. No. Ancestor Tianqian looked a little frightened. He could not sit cross-legged in peace, and suddenly waved the fly whisk in his hand. He felt threatened, so he tried his best, and all his cultivation in the God-refining realm exploded. The void around him turned directly into a black hole, and the world could not withstand this pressure that exceeded the limit. The power of destroying the world is only aimed at Xuanhuan and the picture scroll. In the scroll, the second word has appeared. Sword. The power of the sword is like the mighty river, and the sword energy shakes the nine heavens. Ancestor Tianxuan's terrifying whisk exploded, and his entire body flew backwards for tens of thousands of miles, vomiting blood. At this moment, he was completely frightened. What kind of swordsmanship is this? Just showing 2 words, defeated him. No. And even though he was thousands of miles away, he could still see that in the scroll, the third word appeared. Hack. As soon as this word came out, the terrifying sword light that stretched for tens of millions of miles suddenly swept down and slashed down. This sword cut off the cause and effect of the immortal realm. Breaking the taboo in Haiti. Destroyed the sun, moon, and stars. All taboos, all weirdness, all ominousness, all perished with this sword that spanned 30 million years. No. Ancestor Tianqian trembled. At this moment, he trembled. This supreme sword intent, this terrifying sword light. He never imagined that there was such a level of power in this underworld. Enough to destroy yourself. At this moment, he had completely given up resistance, but turned around suddenly, looked at the area where the Forbidden Islands were spread, and let out a final wail towards the countless yin and yang grey mist. Run away. He is just a Dharma body. The real body is blocked at the junction of the underworld and the yang world. He doesn't want to die. However, all his thoughts and some shouts were instantly shattered by the terrifying sword light that swept behind him. Together with himself, he turned directly into nothingness. The sword light slashed straight through the entire world and passed over the originally Forbidden Sea. All the Forbidden Islands in the Forbidden Sea exploded like fireworks and were destroyed. The sword light reaches the edge of the grey mist of yin and yang that separates the 2 realms of yin and yang. At this moment, the sky above the demon realm. Continue to open the scroll in Xuanhuan's hand. Open. Born. Die. Road. A sword cuts the road between life and death. The sword's intention is like a wave, rushing forward without retreating. At this moment, the boundary between virtual and real was shattered. The boundary between light and darkness is gone. One sword breaks the sky, breaks the earth, breaks cause and effect, breaks yin and yang. The thick gray fog of yin and yang was once regarded as a source of ominousness and strangeness by the underworld. It is difficult for even the strongest to pass through, and it can even separate yin and yang. But at this moment, under this sword, it was wiped out into ashes. Yin and yang are connected. Now, a big world full of yang energy. In the wilderness of intertwined mountains. A mountainous area. An old man is sitting cross-legged here. The true form of Patriarch Tianqian. At this moment, he didn't know what he felt and suddenly opened his eyes. Huh? One of my Dharma bodies was actually destroyed. Is the great Yin spirit so powerful? He was extremely surprised and thought. You must know that since he entered the underworld with a projection 3 years ago and speculated that there was a big Yin spirit downstream of the underworld, he had been making preparations. The Dharma body in the portrait in the hands of Yang Duanfeng and others is nearly half of his own strength. It is definitely enough to shock a small underworld. After all, the ultimate in the underworld is the holy way. That Yin spirit is at most a holy emperor. No matter how strong it is, what can it do? No, I have to go and see for myself. The more special this great Yin spirit is, the more unimaginable my achievements will be after I get it, and I may even become a god. His eyes were burning, and he stood up immediately, preparing to explore the depths of the gray mist. But, right now, deep in the endless gray mist, it looks like a terrifying giant beast is rampant. He felt that the gray mist seemed to be disturbed by something, coming from the pavement. What a monster, how dare you! He was holding a fly whisk, his body was emitting countless rays of light, and his cultivation level was fully activated. But then, a terrifying sword intent that cut through all the yin and yang gray mist swept over. He faced the sword intent head on. At this moment, he clearly felt the trembling from his soul. No. His eyes widened and fear filled his body. He subconsciously turned around and ran away. However, the sword intention has arrived. Boom. His entire body was killed in an instant. Total destruction. Under the rolling sword intent, he was like a powerless ant. The sword intent spread across the mountain range, and in an instant, the gray mist was cut off. This sword penetrated the two realms of yin and yang. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Gui Xian. Chapter 409. Hades. Under the bombardment of the yin and yang demonic furnace, the foundation of the underworld was destroyed. The chain of yin and yang order swallowed up everything, and the world of the underworld collapsed in large areas. Although Patriarch Tianqian has died, the end of the underworld continues. After all, the foundation of this world has been destroyed by Patriarch Tianqian. In the blink of an eye, half of the underworld was destroyed, and countless creatures disappeared completely as the world collapsed. And at this moment, above the demon realm, in Xuanhuan's hands, the scroll was already half open. On the scroll, 7 large characters exude an invincible sword intent. A sword cuts the road between life and death. At this moment, all of them clearly felt that the door to another world had opened. The area that originally belonged to the Forbidden Island was originally covered with yin and yang gray fog, and no one dared to set foot there. However, the light was thousands of feet long, and it was the light from another world. This sword destroys all enemies and opens the way to life and death. Zhang Shui murmured, she was lost in thought, how powerful this is. The great demon king is so terrifying, he can actually penetrate the two realms of yin and yang. Yun 11's big eyes flashed, filled with disbelief. It should be noted that the separation between yin and yang, the separation between life and death, these are recognized chasms in the yang world and cannot be crossed. Others were equally shocked. Master's swordsmanship is unrivaled in the world, and today, I finally get to see its power. Yuking's eyes were filled with a kind of fanaticism. This is the swordsmanship that I dream of. With one sword, it can destroy all enemies, cut off all causes and effects, and break through all obstacles. Invincible. They all knew that Li Fan's methods were all-powerful, but today, they really saw this invincible power. At this moment, the scroll in Xianning's hand continues to open. The earth-shattering sword strike just now, only came from half a sentence on the scroll. The second half of the sentence in the scroll finally appeared slowly. Kang. Born. Same. Cross. Ghost. Door. Close. The common people will cross the gate of hell together. As soon as these words came out, the scroll suddenly radiated billions of great powers. The picture scroll takes off. Standing in the center of the sky, its light shines brightly on countless people. In an instant, the sky and the earth shook, and the whole world seemed to be held up by this picture scroll. In the fallen demon realm, countless struggling demons were illuminated by the light on the scroll. In an instant, they escaped from the moment of life and death, disappeared from the place, and in the blink of an eye, they had appeared at the entrance to the underworld. Immediately afterwards, the wailing creatures in the endless realm of the immortal realm also left the immortal realm in an instant and stepped into the avenue of the underworld. The Void Sea, billions of lower realms. Countless creatures were in panic, not knowing what was happening. What happened? Ahead, is this the Yang world? I feel an extremely abundant Yang energy. It's the Yang world, and there is a supreme being that has penetrated Yin and Yang. The world exclaimed. Before countless people had time to react, they had already entered the avenue of the underworld. But at the same time, golden seas of calamity fell instantly. Yang Ji. All the creatures in the underworld are essentially just Yin spirits. They grow and cultivate in the broken underworld, but when they enter the underworld, they have to endure great disasters. Ah! No! Endless wailing. At this moment, everyone is struggling to survive the disaster. The underworld is just a broken reflection of the Yang world, and all the Yin spirits are just reappearances of the past. In the Yang world, all the people in this world have long since died, and I have also died. Under the Yang tribulation, a middle-aged man who stepped on the black and white chess lines murmured. He was majestic and heroic, and he was clearly the holy emperor of black and white. Since the immortal era, he has been fighting against the people of Yang realm, and has been in strange situations. But at this moment, the picture scroll flew across the sky and sent him to this Yang road. Watching the endless fall of Yang Ji and peeking into the emergence of the other world, he seemed to have some realization. That senior who is all-powerful has given all the creatures in the underworld a chance to enter the underworld and be reborn with his great power. However, most of the creatures in the underworld will be destroyed, because their karma in the upper world may have completely disappeared in the years, leaving no trace. We are like dead ghosts who want to be reborn in the world of the world and pass through this hell, unless the karma we left in the world of the past has not completely disappeared. Thinking of this, he suddenly smiled, free and bold, took one step forward, and took the initiative to welcome the terrifying Yang tribulation. I, black and white, may have a past in the world of the world. It is a great blessing to be able to reappear in the underworld where cause and effect are intertwined under the great handwriting of that senior. If there are still people in the world who praise my name, if there are still reflections of my old days, then go back. If everything about me has disappeared, then let me be completely extinct. The endless Yang Dao tribulation light suddenly fell on him. At this moment, he clearly saw that the endless Yang Dao tribulation light seemed to be opening up some kind of path, sending him to a certain world in the Yang world. I understand, the countless Yin spirits in the underworld do not all come from the same place in the Yang world. Just like the soul returning to its hometown, I will be sent to a place that has cause and effect with me. Very good. His eyes were open-minded, and when he looked back, he saw that the common people were disillusioned, and the underworld was like a wisp of flying ashes. Great destruction, great terror, but also a great rebirth. The black and white holy emperor murmured. There is no need to cry for those who have died, because they are already dead. For those who are reborn, there is no need to be happy, because when reborn in the world, they may face greater disasters and loneliness. It's a pity that I didn't meet that senior in person, who promoted the reappearance of the underworld and connected the two realms of yin and yang. What a big deal. All life is like a chess piece, everyone has a destiny, black and white, go away. He disappeared from where he was. He has already gone to this world, a place where he has cause and effect. This is a ruthless catastrophe. The black and white holy emperor has left, and hundreds of millions of people in this underworld are facing destruction. The creatures in the underworld, in a sense, have all died in the course of time. After being reborn in the underworld, if you want to step into the earthly world, you must have the protection of the past karma. If the traces of the yin spirit itself in the yang world have not been completely erased, relying on this connection of cause and effect, then it can survive this yin and yang catastrophe and be sent to the place where cause and effect resides. Otherwise, it will completely return to peace and silence. The common people howled. There are only a handful of billions of living beings who can survive this. A middle-aged man looked at the Yang Dao tribulation light falling above his head, his legs trembling. I, Ao Xuanhuan, don't want to die. He shouted sadly, completely panicked. However, the next moment, Yang Dao was baptized by the tribulation light, and another world suddenly appeared in front of his eyes. He was stunned and disappeared on the spot. We are all just reappearances of the past. Huo Ling'er was baptized by Yang Dao's robbery. He didn't know what he was thinking, and murmured. This world still has our old karma. Beside her, Mu Jianning's big eyes were full of nervousness and anxiety, and she said, Sister Ling'er. Huo Ling'er held her hand and said firmly. Jianning, don't be afraid, let's go. Feeling Huo Ling'er's eyes, Mu Jianning suddenly felt a sense of courage, and she held Huo Ling'er's hand tightly. The two joined hands and left. Grandpa Taixuan, save them. In the Ji family of the imperial clan, countless clan members were destroyed, leaving only Ji Qing and Ji Taixuan. She cried so hard that she wanted to save those clan members who had been destroyed by the robbery. It's useless, Jingke. All the traces left by the tribe in this world have been completely wiped out. They can no longer enter this world. Ji Taixuan sighed deeply, turned and left with Ji Qing. Even Zhang Shui, who was with Nanfan and others above the demon realm, felt like he was feeling something at this moment. She suddenly stepped forward and stepped onto the road to the underworld. Sister Zhang Shui. Zi Ling and others shouted. But at this moment, an inexplicable look flashed across Zhang Shui's beautiful eyes. Am I just a reappearance of the past? Does the old me still exist? She whispered, the call of fate. A piece of Yang Dao tribulation light fell, she stepped into it, and then disappeared. The whole underworld reappeared because of the big hand in the dark. At this moment, due to some unknown cause and effect, I entered the great nirvana. This is the ruthless reincarnation, this is the screening of life and death, this is the power of fate. The past reappears, and it is up to the deceased whether they can embark on a new path or not. The common people cross the gate of hell together, and those who can cross the gate of hell must rely on the key of the past. The old days no longer exist, and today must be destroyed. Life and death have already been determined. No one can save it, no one can stop it. This is the torrent of fate. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Gui Xin. Chapter 410. The common people pass through the gate of hell together. Endless creatures in the underworld have all made their way to the avenue of the underworld under the power of Li Fan's calligraphy. Above the demon realm, Zhang Shui, Nanfeng, and others looked at the calligraphy on the sky and were all shocked for a long time. A sword penetrates the two realms of yin and yang, and all creatures in the world are sent to the avenue of the yang world. Master's calligraphy is invincible. Nanfeng's beautiful eyes were filled with shock. One sword can defeat all enemies, open up the yin and yang, and one sword can help the common people and reverse the cause and effect. This kind of swordsmanship is incredible and cannot be fathomed. Zhuge Yuking's eyes were filled with incomparable enthusiasm. Is this the mind of the Supreme Buddha? He can save all living beings in the world, has great compassion, and has infinite dharma, but that's all. Qing Chen even clasped his hands together, with incomparable piety in his eyes, and murmured, "My teacher is compassionate. Big Brother has already arrived at all this. He knows everything about the underworld, and even more about the reincarnation of cause and effect. The underworld was opened because of him." Xian Ning's big eyes were shining brightly. Even Yun 11 was a little dazed. The yin and yang are connected, and all life flows together. What a handiwork! You must know that the separation between yin and yang is a chasm. The underworld was created due to the mysterious interweaving of cause and effect. It is extremely difficult for people in the yang world to enter. In particular, every underworld has its limitations. Obviously, if it comes from the underworld, it is impossible for cultivators on the holy path to enter the divine path. Therefore, even if he is the ancestor of Tianxian, he can only send some disciples from the holy realm into the underworld, and barely step out of the realm of fusion in the underworld. Only by entering the divine path in the underworld can one be accepted by the underworld. But now it seems that the great demon king is really terrible. He is definitely more than just the holy path. He should be a great master who has entered the divine path. The great demon king is promoting the rebirth of this underworld just to find them. Yun 11 murmured and looked at Nanfeng Xiling and others. These are all the karma that the great demon king picked up from this ocean of karma. Who is the great demon king and what is his purpose? However, just as everyone was shocked, the collapse of the world continued. The whole world is completely over. All the rules were distorted, and the space they were in was almost completely destroyed. No, we have to go back to the village quickly to find the master. Zai Ling spoke hurriedly. But no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't draw anything at the moment. Because, although her paintings can change space, now even space has died. Even if Yongzi enters the realm of fusion, he cannot reverse it at this moment. No. The big devil is so strong, we will definitely not die. She bit her lower lip. And at this moment, the northern immortal territory has been almost completely destroyed. But there is a place that is so quiet that it seems to be independent of the whole world. The vegetation remains, harmonious and calm. This is a small mountain village. In the village, in the small courtyard, Li Fan was bored and picked up a book to read. Bai Xiaoqing squatted on the table, eating cat food. Suddenly, Bai Xiaoqing seemed to feel something. She raised her head and looked at the sky. I saw that above the sky, countless voids were being destroyed. Great nirvana, great destruction. It has arrived. Meow meow, it's over. Something happened in this underworld. Bai Xiaoqing was anxious. She turned around quickly, raised her little paw, and pulled Li Fan's sleeve. What? Are you full? Li Fan put down the book and prepared to rub its belly. But Xiaobai was meowing and calling to the sky at the same time. Li Fan then stood up and looked at the sky. He was suddenly startled. The sky was so weird. He clearly saw the clouds rushing and rolling past. What kind of weather is this? It's over. It's going to rain heavily. I don't know what happened to Xian Ning and the others. Li Fan suddenly became anxious. He remembered that when Xuanhuan and the others left, they didn't bring an umbrella. I hope they come back soon. Li Fan couldn't help but speak, and at the same time he was a little anxious. He walked into the room and found an umbrella. He had to go out and take a look, otherwise he would be worried. Picking up Xiaobai, he went out. And at this moment, he didn't know it, just when he thought about it again. Endless distance away, in the sky above the demon realm. Destruction is coming. The waves are terrifying. Wu Dade, Zhang Li, and others tried their best to resist. But when the rules and even the void were destroyed, their cultivation was completely useless. However, right now, a supreme light suddenly enveloped the area where they were. A secret power is flowing. This secret power was like eternity, like it was transcendent, and in an instant, they disappeared on the spot. Even countless black holes and waves of destruction cannot stop the flow and operation of this secret power. The next moment, Nanfang, Ziling, and others felt that the scene in front of them changed. They landed on the ground. The scene in front of me was even more familiar. Quiet little mountain village. Smoke curls from cooking stoves, chickens and dogs hear each other, traffic flows on the streets, and green grass sprouts. It was as quiet as a paradise, in sharp contrast to the destruction in the outside world. We're back. Everyone was in a daze. Yes, we are back. Master has anticipated everything, so he naturally has the means to bring us back. Nanfang spoke. Master's strength, it is truly unimaginable. To him, the destruction of the entire underworld may be nothing more than the death of a grain of dust. Xuanhuan was deeply moved. Between them and the small mountain village, there are countless black holes after the destruction of the world, which cannot be crossed, but they returned in an instant. Master's method is almost divine. Look. At this moment, Xuanhuan suddenly pointed to the outside world. Everyone turned around. They saw that everything in Hades was destroyed. The stars and moon are gone, and the void is destroyed. The whole underworld collapsed. This small mountain village was surrounded by a huge black hole formed after the underworld collapsed. Outside the small mountain village, there is endless darkness. At the same time, the small mountain village exuded some kind of secret power, crossing the huge black hole and moving in a certain direction. Soon, the darkness disappeared, and the small mountain village left the black hole formed in the underworld behind. Time and space flowed, and in just an instant, the small mountain village appeared in the area that was originally a forbidden island. A small mountain village, embarking on the road to the underworld. Infinite light shines through. That's another world, the underworld. The small mountain village seemed to be transcendent and above everything else. Not a single ray of the boundless Yang Dao tribulation light that targeted the creatures in the underworld dared to approach this village. Immediately afterwards, Nanfang, Ziling and others saw that the sky in the world of the small mountain village was falling rapidly from the secret room. Below is a vast expanse of wilderness. The small mountain village fell as a whole and became part of this vast wilderness. Generally speaking, even a fist-sized stone falling from that height would have a terrifying impact with the earth, but the small mountain village was always as calm as water. If they hadn't seen the changes in the scene outside, I'm afraid Ziling and others would not have noticed that the small mountain village had entered another world. Silent and silent. At this moment, Nanfang, Xuanhuan and other disciples were all stunned. They looked at the outside world with a sense of unreality and a trance. The vegetation is lush, the mountains are full of wilderness, and the strong Yang Dao aura blends with the special spiritual energy. In the mountains and forests, there are all kinds of birds and animals. The destruction and collapse of the world just now was like a big dream. Have we entered the underworld? Nanfan spoke in a daze. The underworld is destroyed. The demon realm, the fairy realm, the endless lower realm, have all been annihilated. What is in front of us is the real world. Lin Zhujian said solemnly. The rules of this world are more realistic than the underworld. Zi Ling is experiencing the difference between this world and the underworld. Yun 11 looked at the world in front of him and muttered a little. 3 years have passed, so my family shouldn't be looking for me anymore. She was a little worried. Sister Yungzi, where is this place? At this time, Xian Ning asked Yun 11. Nanfang, Zi Ling, and others also looked over, full of curiosity about this world. When they were in the underworld, they had heard countless legends about the underworld. At this moment, when I finally stepped in, I naturally wanted to know everything about this world. Yungzi wrote. This is, the Yangjian, the Great Ruins realm. She knew that Nanfan and others knew nothing about Yangjian, so she immediately introduced. Therefore, according to old legend, the realms of the Yang realm are like the number of sands in the Ganges river, incalculable, and the Degza realm is just one of them. What is above all the worlds is the divine realm. There are 33 heavens in the divine realm, where the gods live. Only those cultivators in the world who have perfected their cultivation and become gods will have the opportunity to enter the divine realm. In a sense, the underworld and the underworld are quite similar. Because the underworld is just a reflection of the underworld. There are tens of millions of lower realms in the underworld, and the worlds in the Yang world are equally innumerable. There is the immortal realm in the underworld, and there is the divine realm in the Yang realm. There are 33 heavens in the divine realm. In terms of cultivation, the only ways to practice in the underworld are the immortal way and the holy way. In the earthly world, it is the path to spiritual cultivation, the holy way, which is just the starting point. Yun 11 finished the brief introduction and then said. The area we are in, should be in the eastern part of the Great Ruins realm, the God Burial Wilderness. Yangjian, east of the Great Ruins. A vast wasteland, called God Burial. Fantasy, I'm really not an unparalleled expert. Author, Gui Xian. Chapter 411. God Burial Wasteland. As soon as these 4 words came out, Nanfeng and others were stunned. God Burial Wilderness, what a domineering name. Dugu Yuking couldn't help but murmured, does this name have any origin? Yun 11 tilted his head and thought for a while, then said. I heard from my grandpa before that gods were really buried in this vast wilderness. It seems that there are many things that are scary, I don't know the details. At this time, Wu Dade asked again and said. So, what level of existence is God? It seems to be much stronger than the Holy Emperor. After all, they had interactions with God before and after. In the underworld, when he first conquered the Xuanhuan turtle, Xuanhuan once brought a statue of the true God with him. Later, Patriarch Tianxian and others seemed to worship a god named True God Xuanhuan. Yungzi wrote. The Holy Emperor is only the pinnacle of the Holy Way. After the Holy Way, there is the Divine Way. The first realm of Shinto is called the fusion of Dao realm. After that, there are realms of concentration, refining, combining gods, connecting with gods, transforming gods, etc. Only those who have completed the realm of transforming gods can get half the word God. Gods are also divided into different levels, but they are all very strong. Even the lowest level of wandering God can make all the spirits in the world worship and enjoy the incense. After listening, Wu Dade, Nanfan, and others all understood somewhat. This cultivation sequence is the divine path. What level is a true God? Zhang Li then asked. Yun 11 said, the true God, I have never seen him. He should be in the sky. Zhang Li understood clearly. He knew that the heaven Yun 11 mentioned was naturally the 33rd heaven of God's domain. They asked Yungzi questions one after another and learned a lot about the world. Every realm in the world is extremely vast. The divine path is the pursuit of all practitioners. Different from the broken underworld, in the Yang world, the holy way is more complete and the heaven and earth are perfect, so it is not difficult for the cultivators in the Yang world to get through this stage. Even in the world of the underworld, even if the holy way is perfected, it is not called the emperor. The holy emperor, in the Yang world, is just a cultivator in the realm of peeping the path. Only after entering this step can you peep into the divine path, hence the name peeping into the path. The great ruins realm is vast and boundless. Just this god-burying wasteland is already 1,000,000 miles wide. No matter what, once it comes, let's make peace with it. All of this must be under the control of the master. Nanfeng spoke. Everyone nodded, whether it was the underworld or the earth, as long as they could be in this Fangshan village and follow their master, they would feel safe and belonging. Here, it's like a home. At this moment, not far away, Li Fan finally came over holding the little white cat in his arms. You are finally back. Seeing a group of disciples at the entrance of the village, Li Fan couldn't help but smile and said. The hanging heart was finally relieved. It was so dark just now, and I felt like I was going to collapse. Now the disciples are back and the weather is fine. Feel at ease, feel at ease. A group of disciples turned around and when they saw Li Fan, they all stepped forward and saluted. Meet the master. Li Fan waved his hand and said with a smile. Don't be too polite, just come back. There's no danger in this trip, right? Nanfan said. Master Qi, everything goes well. She thought for a moment and said. It's just that, when we entered the underworld, Sister Zhang Shui was separated from us. When Li Fan heard this, he couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. The earthly realm. He couldn't help but glance outside the village, it looked a bit strange. What is this place? He couldn't help but ask. This is the Great Ruins realm. Yun 11 opened her mouth and looked at the Great Demon King. She thought to herself, it seems that the Great Demon King is not from the Great Ruins realm. The Great Ruins realm is unknown in countless worlds. A terrifying existence like the Great Demon King should come from a higher level world. Well, that must be the case. Li Fan's eyes flashed with doubt. The Great Ruins realm. You and others have entered another world. However, he understood it after thinking about it. After all, a few days ago, he heard Yun 11, Huo Linger and others say that someone wanted to destroy the world. He was panicking, so he sent his disciples to leave to find a way to escape. Now it seems that the original world has been completely destroyed. But the small mountain village where I live has luckily entered another world. Thinking of this, Li Fan couldn't help but feel excited. Okay, great. Even the end of the world has been avoided. My luck is incredible. He immediately said to the south wind. It doesn't matter, since Zhang Shui has also entered this world, we can meet again if we are destined. Go back with me, master. I will cook you a delicious meal tonight. After the disaster, of course you should have a good meal to celebrate. Hearing this, a group of disciples instantly became happy. Thank you, master. They immediately returned to the small courtyard. And at this moment, God burial wasteland. In the boundless desolation, ferocious beasts are rampant and dangers abound. Somewhere in the wilderness, there is another mountain village. At first glance, this village looks simple and primitive, with almost all buildings made of wood. On the outskirts of the village, a half-meter-high wooden fence was built with strange gray branches. From a distance, the boundary with the outside world is clear. At this moment, at the entrance of the village, a group of men, women, and children were lined up. They wore primitive clothes made of animal skins and other materials. The men all showed the spirit of the wilderness, almost all of them were tall and strong, while the women mostly wore coarse cloth clothes. At the front of the team is an old man with white hair. The old man has a stooped body, but he can vaguely tell that he must have been a majestic man when he was young. He is the village chief of Muling village, Murantian. Although Murantianren is old, his steps are steady and extraordinary. Step by step, he walks towards the old vines in front of him. It was an old grapevine, with only one branch left, exuding some extraordinary aura. But, the whole old vine has little vitality, its branches and leaves have withered, and only a few yellowed old leaves are left hanging on the vine. Men, women, and children of Muling village, please pay your respects to the vine god. Murantian shouted loudly. Everyone saluted one after another. When Murantian saw the withered state of the old vine, a look of deep worry suddenly appeared on his face. The vine god is the sacrificial spirit of their wood spirit village. The powerful forces in the Great Ruins realm will almost never set foot in the god burial wasteland. On this land, the only human race is scattered into many primitive villages, tribes, etc. In the wilderness, there are dangers everywhere. If you want to resist those terrible dangers, you must rely on spiritual sacrifices. Generally speaking, every village, tribe, etc. will offer sacrifices to spirits, and those sacrifices to spirits often come from the wilderness. There are various kinds of sacrifices to the spirits, some are powerful ferocious beasts, some are extraordinary plants, etc. Some sacrifices to the spirits are kind, and some sacrifices to the spirits are bloody. This old vine in Muling village is called the god of vine by the villagers. It has been guarding Muling village for hundreds of years. But, now Fujigami's lifespan seems to have come to an end. When the vine gods wither and completely turn into dead branches, their wood spirit village will completely lose their sacrificial spirits. Without the sacrificial spirit, destruction will come. Except for the old, weak, sick, disabled and women, everyone in the village, starting from today, leave the village and go into the wilderness. Murantian spoke loudly and said, "We must find treasures that can extend the lives of the sacrificial spirits, otherwise, Wood Spirit Village is over. Set off." He gave the order, and immediately almost all the adult men in the village took their bows, arrows, swords, guns, etc. and left Muling village. "Grandpa village chief, can I go with brother Mujing and the others?" At this time, a girl of 16 or 17 years old suddenly walked up behind Murantian and spoke expectantly. She was dressed in coarse cloth, but her appearance was good, her eyes were clear, and her skin was like cream. Murantian turned around, glanced at the girl, shook his head and said, "Wonking, just stay in the village." But Mu Wonking stubbornly shook her head and said, "No. Grandpa village chief, my spiritual sense is the strongest. If I go, I have a better chance of finding treasures that can be used to worship the spirits and prolong their lives." Murantian looked at Mu Wonking with deep helplessness. "Grandpa, village chief, let Wonking go with us, we will protect her." At this time, a young man wearing leather armor and carrying an iron gun came over. His name is Mujing, and he is one of the strongest young people in Muling village. His cultivation has reached the level of killing me in the holy way. Murantian thought for a moment and finally nodded. Anyway, if the sacrifice spirit really dies, the situation these children will face will probably be even more difficult. It's okay to let them go out and practice. Go ahead. He spoke. "Thank you, Grandpa village chief." Mu Wonking cheered immediately. They immediately left Muling village and headed towards the depths of the wilderness. There were more than a dozen people in the group. Along the way, under Mu Wonking's powerful spiritual sense, they bypassed many territories of powerful ferocious beasts. "Wonking, where are we going?" After a long time, the group stopped, and Mujing looked at Mu Wonking. They went deep into the wilderness in search of treasures, but in fact, they had no clear direction. "We can only try our luck in the vast wilderness." Mu Wonking stopped, calmed down, and felt it carefully. Suddenly, she seemed to sense something, pointed in a direction, and said, "That direction, it seems like the atmosphere has changed." The aura seems to be more intense than before. Hearing this, Mujing and others' expressions changed slightly and said, "Over there, Grey Mist Mountain Ridge." They know this vast wilderness quite well. In the area Mu Wonking pointed to, there is a mountain range that is shrouded in strange grey fog all year round. According to the village chief, the grey fog may involve yin and yang. They didn't dare to explore at all, because if they provoke something terrible, it might bring disaster to Muling village. Moreover, there were overlord-level creatures such as the roaring tiger and the flying eagle in that area. Yes. I feel, as if the spiritual energy of this vast wilderness is slowly flowing over there. Mu Wonking spoke affirmatively. Is there a treasure that can attract spiritual energy? Mu Jing thought, raised his head, a flash of determination in his eyes, and said, "Walk. If you don't enter the tiger's den, you won't catch the tiger's cubs. In order to sacrifice to the spirit, go and try it." A group of young people nodded and moved forward together. And they are after a long time. At the same place, another group of people suddenly appeared. The leader was a wild man with a sinister sneer on his face. The old vines in Muling village are almost finished. They are looking for things to prolong the lives of the sacrifice spirits. Haha, we must not let them find it. Only when that old vine is gone can our Huailing village annex their Muling village. Walk. This man rushed up with his men and horses.